Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Shadoe Stevens.
WRKO. Rock with a Grin, FM stereo and AM 1500, 106.6.
Little bitty having 94.7 KMET. Tweedly.
This is my favorite, Plastic Man. Welcome to Family Beautiful Magazine. Antenna TV is a great network, and people should go out of their way for it. It's the greatest television shows ever. All in the Family, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, the Jack Benny program, Burns and Allen. In January, they're starting to show full episodes of Johnny Carson for the first time since it was on the air.
So you have been in the business for many, many years.
I was obsessed with creating audio on my dad's tape recorder, and I was given a kit that would allow me to broadcast into another room. And I built the kit when I was 10, and then put up a 100-foot antenna so that I could broadcast for a long ways, and then I could broadcast a mile in every direction. You know, I climbed up to the top of the evergreen tree in the backyard and strung up a 100-foot antenna, and they went, "Oh wow, that's crazy." Then I was discovered by a local radio station and put on the air as the world's youngest disc jockey. And so a Saturday morning I played rock and roll on KEYJ. And the rest is history.
So where do you think that radio is going these days?
I came to LA, started a station called K-Rock here in LA, and signed it on the air and created the format. And then I went on and did KMET, and then I went back to K-Rock, and then I left radio, and so I went into advertising and television. And then because the television campaign for Federated was so successful.
Fred R-rated? Wasn't this the
Yeah,
character?
it was Fred rated for Federated. And then we had Freddie Radare. There were dozens and dozens of combinations. It was all wordplay, and it was designed to make you remember the name Federated. It started as 14 little stores in Southern California, and it started the campaign, which was a fast-talking bassomatic pitchman like Dan Aykroyd from Saturday Night Live. And at the end he would say, "And Federated smashes prices." And I would smash a television with a circus hammer, great big hammer. Sales went up 500%. And then he went from 14 local stores to 78 superstores in 5 states. And so that's where Dan saw it in Texas, because it was California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma. It was probably the most successful regional advertising campaign in history. We had post-production, we had cameras, lighting, we controlled everything. We would do 6 or 8 commercials a week. No commercial ever ran longer than 10 days.
Federated. Mother, I gotta keep doing it.
Brad, don't be an idiot. You'll go blind.
Mother, I've got to keep cutting prices.
So it would be 30-second commercials, one after another. We'd get together on Monday and go, "What do you want to do?"
Federated for the Federated Bureau of Investigation. Consider the case of Harley Clogg, who went to the wrong place to buy the wrong TV.
And we would be shooting by Wednesday, editing Thursday, and turning them in Friday for 6 years. And then along came Hollywood Squares, and that took off like a rocket and became the biggest show in the country. They asked me to host the show for 1 week, and they said, "We need somebody to do your part, to be, the announcer in the square." I said, "You got to hire this guy, Howard Stern. He's brilliant. He's the top guy in New York City," and he was just coming up at that time. He wasn't very well known. This was in the 80s. So Howard came out. He hated it. It was an awful experience. He said to me after the first show, we did 5 shows in a row. He said, "I hate this. I'm in hell. Get me out of here." I said, No. He's just like, "No, here's what you do." And I kind of tried to walk him through it and calm him down, and he made it through, and he did fine, because he's brilliant.
Yes.
And so we've been, friendly ever since. I love the guy. I think he's just the most talented guy in the history of radio.
Well, both of you are iconic radio figures. Radio is an art, but it's still something, I think, the listening to something without having a visual creates things in your mind that almost the visual takes the intelligence away from it to some degree.
Well, that's the magic of it, is
Yes.
that you see the theater of the mind. It all happens in your head from audio, words, and music, and it's my favorite thing about it. I thought that I left radio for good after K-Rock, but then they pulled me back in. Probably because of the success of Hollywood Squares, that they gave me American Top 40, because I'd been in radio and they thought, well, maybe it's a good bet. So I went in and did that show, and it grew and grew and grew. It became the biggest show in the history of radio.
We have some fan mail. This is actually pre-internet.
Actual fan mail.
Fan mail. And the people, I actually had the opportunity to read some of the fan mail. The people were so emotionally involved with you,
Wow.
Shadoe. And my favorite is from a gentleman from Qatar who never missed your show. It was on Friday night, and he felt that you were his good luck charm for the next week.
I have a guy who writes me every year from Spain, and he listened every week in Spain, and then went off and joined the army and was shipped off to Iraq. He was there in the middle of nowhere, and on Armed Forces Radio, American Top 40 came on, and he stood and cried. And he said, and it changed his life. He went into radio and became a big sports personality in Spain. And every year he writes me a note that says, "You changed my life, and thank you, and
That's
I hope to meet
amazing.
you someday."
That's amazing. But you know, you've had this effect on so many people.
I realized that the one thing all human beings have in common is rhythm, that you can appreciate any music anywhere as long as there's a rhythmic element. That if you listen to a ballad in another language, you don't know what they're talking about, you can't understand it, you can't appreciate it. Each era has its own favorite moments, you know, and everything is hard, and taxed my creativity and my patience and my stamina, and you just have to not give up. You know, you just have to keep trying no matter what happens. And it becomes very, very trying. And everything that I've ever done has been difficult. But the fact that I keep trying allows me to grow and learn new tools. So the things I'm able to do today are light years beyond anything I was able to do before, because I learned how to do them.